can't believe I'm about to tell this story. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and in this video we are going to get back to a prison story. I know a lot of people have been waiting for more prison stories, and believe me, I've got a ton of them still. And with that being said, in this video we are most certainly going to tell a pretty crazy one. In fact, the story that I'm about to tell you is a very embarrassing one, if it in fact did happen, and there is a good possibility that it did. I know this may sound kind of confusing at first, but I promise you, as I tell you this story, you'll understand a lot better. I actually mentioned a little bit about this story in a live stream a while back when Dave was with us. Hashtag free Dave. But without further ado, what do you say we just go ahead and dive head first into this video. You know, when you're locked up, you're going to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to deal with bad times, you may have a few good times, and you're also going to deal with times that are just, well, quite frankly, embarrassing. And again, this story is one of those times that I consider pretty embarrassing. This story is about a guy that I was locked up with by the name of Cherry. Now, Cherry was not his nickname, Cherry was his real name, it was his last name. But you know, it could have been his nickname as well because, I don't know, maybe Cherry stood for all sorts of things. And I can't remember exactly when I met Cherry. I know I met him at like the second to last prison that I was at. And I first met this guy because we were in the same housing unit together, and he actually slept like a couple of bunks down from me. I slept on a top bunk, Cherry slept on a top bunk as well. Maybe there were like 2 or 3 bunks that separated the two of us. Now this guy Cherry, he was a real weirdo. Black, bald-headed, stocky dude who, like the guy that I talked about who used to do push-ups in the shower but bald naked, walking around talking into a towel and laughing. Go ahead and get away from you, dude. You are pretty fucking crazy. Cherry also used to talk to himself as well. And you know, when you're locked up, that's really not that uncommon of a thing to run across crazy people who do talk to themselves. And they will do this for whatever reason. Whether they genuinely are crazier than a motherfucker, or because they're trying to fake crazy in an effort to get back into court and, you know, tell the judge, hey look, this guy, he is batshit crazy. And because of that, you should probably go ahead and either put him in a crazy place or just take away his time altogether and let him back out into society. And you know, mentioning these things, I'm not really sure exactly why a person would think an insanity plea would work. Your Honor, he's crazy. He belongs back on the streets. He can't be held liable for these charges that he's accused of and serving time for. I really just don't understand it. But just like the guy who used to walk around talking into a towel, doing push-ups but bald naked inside of a shower in a jail, Cherry would do one of those crazy things at least, which was walking around talking to himself. And I have to say this as well, Cherry was not one of these guys you really wanted to have any problems with. He was a big guy, and he was also crazy. And those are two combinations that you really don't want to have any kind of an altercation with, because a crazy big guy can equal something that is referred to in prison, and probably in a lot of other places as well, but it's referred to as having retarded strength. In fact, I saw Cherry fight on a number of occasions, and I have to tell you, he won every fight that I saw him get in, and it did not go so well for the people that he chose to fight. And in every case that I saw him get in a fight, it was with a white guy. Now, I'm not trying to say that Cherry was a racist or that race really had anything to do with anything in particular other than where this story is ultimately going. And some other things to throw in here real quick about this guy Cherry. When you go into a new environment, a new cell block, housing unit, whatever it may be, it can even be anywhere in the real world. You know, you observe your surroundings, you just kind of try to pay attention to who is doing what, who may not be somebody you really want to associate with. And that is absolutely a key survival skill in prison. Observing your surroundings and seeing just what people are doing. And not paying too much attention to them either, because that could land you in a world of shit as well for being nosy or seeing things that you shouldn't see. But again, just getting into a new prison environment or a new environment in general, you really do need to pay attention to what's going on around you and see who may not exactly be the best people for you to associate with. And while doing this myself, getting into this new housing unit where Cherry slept like 2 or 3 bunks down from me, I couldn't really help but to notice this guy. For somebody who walked around talking to themselves all day long, he was pretty loud about it. And he would say some of the craziest damn things while walking around as well. That motherfucker don't want no problems with me. I'm a crazy retarded motherfucker with retarded strength. And he wouldn't be saying this to anybody. He would just be saying this like walking up and down the aisles inside of the housing unit. And seeing him do this, I knew immediately this was not somebody I wanted to have any kind of interaction with whatsoever. In fact, I never even wanted to speak one single word to this guy because of that one fact in particular. He was crazy. Also add to that, as I'm getting more comfortable inside of the housing unit, meeting some of the cool people in there, especially guys who tattooed. But I would meet people inside of the housing unit, especially other tattoo artists, and they would tell me, hey man, you really need to watch that guy Cherry. Because not only is he crazier than a motherfucker, he's also a snitch as well. Crazy, talks to himself, and he's a snitch. Well, with that, this guy has certainly gone 0 for 3 in my book, and there's no reason whatsoever I need to have any dealings with this guy. Now, as time continued to pass, I began to learn and also see just so much of the negative qualities in this guy, Cherry. One of which being the fact that this guy had a massive reputation for being a snitch. The only people it seemed that he would talk to would be the correctional officers at the prison. And this was a major red flag in my book because, again, this guy slept like 2 or 3 bunks down from me. And here I am in my little cut area right where my bunk is at. This is where I would be tattooing. So I'm having to watch out for not only the guards, but I'm also having to watch out for this guy Cherry as well. Well, throughout all of the time that I spent in this housing unit with this guy, and I think it was something like a year, and because of the fact that we never had any kind of interaction, I would never go around and be like, hey Cherry, how you doing today? Told on anybody today? Have you knocked off any sort of tattooing operations, gambling, porn, or prison wine? And also because of the fact that anytime that I would even be in the vicinity of this guy, I would either try to go the other way, look away, put my head down, like I really didn't even want to make eye contact with this guy because I didn't want to open up any doors, so to say, giving this guy the opportunity to try to speak to me, to try to talk to me, anything like that. But I guess with me doing this, it probably looked to him like, well, I was intimidated by this guy. And I'm not even going to lie to you. I mean, I was intimidated by this guy. I didn't like him first and foremost. He was a big, crazy dude. And he was also a snitch. That is like the perfect combination for me to kind of be intimidated by you. Add to that the fact that I saw this guy get in like 3 fights with 3 different white dudes, beating the shit out of all 3 of these guys. And I guess I just really didn't want to be the 4th white guy to get beat up by this dude. And to say that I was intimidated by this guy, I mean, yeah, I got no problem saying that. You're going to meet people in prison for whatever reason that are going to be kind of intimidating and also kind of scary as well. I guess that's another part of it. Maybe I was scared of this guy. So I'm guessing with the way that I carried myself around this individual, the fact that I would look away, the fact that I would walk the other way, the fact that he probably seen in me that I was scared of him or intimidated by him, well, that is when I do believe that he began to try to like nitpick with me or fuck with me to a certain degree. And I have to say this, like reliving this, thinking about this, telling you guys this story, it's fucking embarrassing. Nobody ever wants to admit the fact that they're scared of somebody or intimidated by them, or just to think about the fact that, you know, if you had to fight this person, you probably couldn't beat them. And this was probably one of very few times that I ever felt either scared or intimidated about anybody that I was locked up with. In fact, I got in fights with guys while locked up that were way more trained to go, way more violent and way more crazy, and who also beat the living shit out of me as well. And thinking about that, I just really can't explain how this individual in particular, Cherry, made me feel kind of intimidated by him. But again, with the fact that he realized that I was intimidated by him or whatever, he began to nitpick and like try to fuck with me. So while he would be in his bunk area like 2 or 3 bunks down from me, he would be talking to himself and I would be hearing him talk to himself, and I would be 99.9% convinced that it was me he was talking about. That white boy down there don't want no problems with me. I'll beat the shit out that white boy down there. You want some problems with me? And this would be almost like a daily fucking thing at this point. But again, I say that, you know, I was 99.9% convinced he was talking about me. But I would try to justify the reason why I wasn't going to engage this situation. There was this 0.1% possibility that it wasn't me he was talking about. I mean, I wasn't the only white guy around this area. And see, now I'm just justifying it. I mean, really, 99.9% guaranteed. That is about the accuracy of a paternity test. Paternity, how do you say it? Those things are pretty fucking correct. And you know, when you're locked up and you have situations like this where somebody thinks that you're intimidated by them, if they actually can read that in you and you don't do anything about it, I probably should have just gotten off my bunk, walked down to his bunk, and at least got one hit in before he probably used that retarded strength to mop my stupid ass up and down the aisles in that housing unit. I probably should have done something like that, but again, I mean, I didn't. But when you have situations like this and you don't do anything about them, then guess what? They only get worse. And I think they did. Now, I'm not 100% sure this actually happened or not, but here's what it is. This one day, Cherry begins to say different shit from his bunk that's pretty close to mine. And he's no longer talking about the fact that he would beat the shit out of this white boy or anything like that. Now he's saying something totally fucking different, and that is, I touched that boy butt while he was asleep and he ain't do nothing. I know he knows I touched it too. Yeah, I touched your butt. Like, I'm hearing this, okay? Because you can't help but to hear this. I can't help but to hear this. In fact, while this guy talks, I want to make sure that I've got like one of my earbuds out if I'm listening to music or whatever. I just always want to make sure I'm hearing what this guy says, because I at least am trying to stay on guard in case this guy does decide he wants to try to fight me. And with the fact that I would listen to every goddamn thing this dude said, this is what I'm hearing him say, talking about touching someone's butt while they are asleep. So now I'm thinking to myself, like, motherfucker, man, was this me? You know, what? Like, did he do this to me? Because, I mean, fuck, if he did this and I was asleep, like, did I sleep right through this? Did he, like, just straight palm my fucking Junie? I mean, what exactly is this motherfucker really up to? And now I am going beyond a reasonable doubt, trying to justify this however the fuck I can. Man, this dude can't possibly be talking about me. Because if he did try to do this to me, there's no doubt in my mind I would have fucking woken up. And if I would have woken up and he was doing that, no matter how fucking scared or intimidated I was by this guy, there is no turning back to that. If you were in prison and you wake up to somebody's hand on your fucking body, it's time to fight, win, lose, or getting your ass completely whooped. So in my mind, I'm justifying this, saying he cannot possibly be talking about me, because if he tried to do this to me, I would have woken up. I know I would have. But you know, that is really just me trying to justify what probably ultimately really did happen. And that is the fact that he probably did fucking touch my Junie cakes while I was asleep, and I probably slept right through it. And then I think to myself, well, like, how many fucking times did he do this? Was this a one-time thing? Did he do this like every chance that he got? You know, like a million fucking questions are going through my head. And this wasn't like a one-time thing that I heard him actually say, yeah, I touched his butt, he didn't do anything. This wasn't just one time that I heard this. He actually said this like multiple times on different days, on different occasions. And this was almost like driving me fucking insane, listening to this motherfucker say this, knowing probably full good and well like he's talking about me. And if you're wondering like how all of this ended up playing out in the end, well, I never did anything about it. That's for damn sure. And thankfully and luckily, like what ended up happening couldn't have been like any better for me, being that I wasn't going to do shit about this. But he actually ended up getting in trouble for something. I can't even remember what it was. He went to the hole and then he ended up getting transferred. And I have to let you know that like when he got in trouble for whatever it was, I can't even remember what it is he did. I think he maybe stole something from the kitchen. I can't remember. All I know is he went to the hole, and on that day when those guards came in there and packed up all of his shit and I knew he was going to the hole, whether they transferred him or not, I was at least happy with the fact that thank God this motherfucker is getting out of here for however long he's gone, and hopefully they fill up the bunks in here so that if he does come out of the hole to come back to general population here on this prison compound, well, fucking hopefully he won't end up in the same housing unit with me again. And when he did come out of the hole, he did end up getting transferred to another prison. Unfortunately, though, that prison that he got transferred to was a prison that I would soon thereafter be transferred to myself. But thankfully, once I got to that prison, like we were on opposite sides of the yard. I was on the 1, 2, 3 side. That means there's buildings numbered 1, 2, 3. And then on the opposite side of the prison, you have the 4, 5, 6 side. And there's those housing units over there as well. The prison is like basically split in half. And he was on one side of the prison. And thank God I was on the other side. But you know, me and Dave actually talked about this situation during a live stream. Dave knew this guy as well. And he said, You know, this guy Cherry, he really liked white guys. In fact, there were other rumors about this guy saying that, you know, he was probably gay. And he had a little thing for snow bunnies, I guess. The fuck? But yeah, you know, that's a really embarrassing situation that I had to go through. It was pretty fucking humiliating, degrading, I guess, you know, to think you're asleep and somebody's sitting there probably trying to touch your butt. I'll tell you this, from the very first time that I heard this dude utter these words out of his mouth, I touched this guy's butt while he was asleep and he didn't do nothing. I swear to you, it was like I slept with one eye open every single night from that point forward, just praying that this motherfucker would try to do this again. Actually, I'm lying. I was probably praying that he wouldn't, because if he did, there was no way in hell like I was gonna miss it. Well, then I would have to probably try to like fight for my life at that point. So, thankfully it all played out the way that it did though. Ugh, bad times, don't go to fucking prison. Hey, look, that's it. I'm not exactly sure how you could enjoy this video, but regardless, please leave a thumbs up and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever get locked up to be locked up around a guy by the name of Cherry. And make the most of every day. Peace!